All right, so in this episode of our key health issues facing young people, we are doing road safety, okay? What is road safety? What are we talking about here? We're talking about motor vehicle accidents. So MVAs is the abbreviation for that affect drivers but also passengers alike. I certainly know that the kids at my school, they did a RoadWise program last term, and so I mean, a lot of them were actually shocked to find out is that in an accident, if you are a passenger in the car, you are more likely to be severely injured or die as opposed to the driver, okay? So in these accidents, not most of the time, but a lot of the time, if there's two people in the car, a passenger and a driver, unfortunately, the passenger is the one that suffers the greater injuries. So that's why it's even more responsible puts more responsibility on the driver to do the right thing, and for the passenger to do the right thing and not distract the driver, which we'll talk about in a minute. So key statistics related to young people and road safety. Young drivers, so in the age bracket of 17 to 25, so think of like P1s up until hopefully you've got your blacks and then a couple more years after that, account for 25% of all road deaths, which is a lot because the amount of drivers in this category is only about 10%. So that is 10% of all the people that drive on our roads in Australia are in this age bracket, but 25% of all road deaths, not accidents, accidents is an even greater number, is represented by this. So it's disproportionate. It's a little bit scary. P1 drivers, so that's red P plates, statistically are 4 times more likely to be in a fatal car crash compared to people who are 20, like in the next age bracket or above, 26 and above. Like 4 times more likely. That's scary. That's hectic. Trends with the data. So even though this sounds really bad, overall, these numbers are actually reducing. So it's actually a good thing, but this is still quite a high, all right? What you would like to see is that if, like in an ideal situation, if young drivers only made up 10% of all the people on the road, then they should account for 10% of all the road deaths. That would make the best sense, okay? Because that would be, in proportion, but it's not. So causes, why are young people more likely to have motor vehicle accidents causing morbidity or mortality? So number one thing is going to be inexperience, and inexperience then leads to these other things here. But because you've had less time driving on the road, you are less likely to see the dangers in doing some of these things along with your driving, such as speeding and risk-taking, all right? We know that young people, especially young males, statistically proven to be high speeding. And most of the time in these accidents, speed is a major factor, if not the number one factor. The next one, mobile phone usage, okay? And this is something that I would like to see more enforcement of. But even just looking down at your phone, or even if you like hold it up, you're driving and you hold it up next to your steering wheel, when you look at that, your focus is not here. And even though you may have good peripheral vision, you can't see the details. You're not going to really see, if it's a cloudy day, you're not going to see that grey car that's just parked in front of you that you're just about to smash into. Or you're not going to see, the dog that runs out in the middle of the road, the black dog on the black road, and that kind of stuff, all right? You need to be focused, okay? Passenger distractions, we mentioned that over here. That is also a number one thing. So a lot of the time when when P-platers are in accidents, they're usually not by themselves. There's usually passengers in the car because the passengers are either A, encouraging the P-plate driver to do something bad, or B, the passenger in the car is distracting the P-plate driver. It's like, hey, look at this sick thing on my, TikTok reel or whatever, and the driver goes, oh, and then bad things happen. Alcohol and drugs, yes, but that contributes to all age categories. Actually, it's not really overly represented in the young people. And fatigue is another one too, all right? And this goes along with the inexperience. A lot of young people think that, they're just a little bit tired, but they'll be fine, and they're not fine. Fatigue is bad. Because once again, all he does is those little micro naps is just enough to take your focus off the road, or maybe stop driving in the right lane, and then, bad things happen. So protective factors, what can young people do to reduce these numbers further? All right. So first of all, the government could implement greater P-plate restrictions. So there's already P-plate restrictions which have helped bring these numbers down. So remember, we are overall improving. So we are trending downwards with restrictions like this. So restrictions on speed limits, restrictions on passengers in the car, restrictions of what hours you can drive, et cetera, et cetera. There could be more restrictions as well. Just, you know, I'm not sure what they would be, but they could be there. Driver education programs, so that has also been proven. Like, you know, there's one of the things you sign up for and you do an all-day course and they give you 20 hours towards your L's if you're like on your L's or P's. But those things are really, really good. I actually did one when I was a P-plater and it was excellent. I highly, anyone who asks me if they should do it, I highly recommend you do it because it was a good, fun day out. Learned some things about driving and learned some things about accidents, which was good, and it was like hands-on. Good experience. RBT and mobile phone detection. See, I would like to see more of this, okay? Like mobile phone cameras. I know they've got portable ones, but they're few and far between, and I think there's only 1 or 2 fixed mobile phone detection cameras here in our local area. Like, they should be everywhere. Like, I don't, personally, because I like to do the right thing, personally, I would like every set of lights to have a mobile phone detection camera hooked up to it. And then everyone's like, oh, that's extreme, but is it? Because if every set of lights there was a mobile phone detection camera, then probably going to catch the people doing the wrong thing, all right? Because so many times you see the people doing the wrong thing, and that glance away is what then leads to these statistics. The other last protective factor which we should mention is vehicle safety improvements, all right? So all vehicles have, they go through a rigorous testing phase and then they get like an ANCAP star rating, okay? And for a long time there's been like a 5-star rating as the best, but you know, when I was younger and I had my first car from my P-plate, there was 0 airbags in that thing. You know, I didn't get in an accident, so I was okay. But I'm just saying, these days you get into a car and there's like airbag, 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 airbag. There's airbags everywhere, which is good. But we did also learn that if you're a passenger in a car and if you put your feet up on the dash and the airbag goes off, well, that's going to be bad for you. So don't do that. So yeah, these things overall are reducing these statistics, but could be better. So in conclusion, to summarise road safety for young people. So young drivers disproportionately represent motor vehicle accidents and may therefore require greater restrictions or greater enforcement to further reduce this statistic. Okay, because like I said, if young drivers only account for 10 to 15% of people on the road, then you only want their accidents to be 10 to 15%, and that would be in proportion with the rest of us. And that is road safety for young people. Thanks.